we are seeing some activity in the NFT market. DeGods and y00ts have taken a nice leg up with the announcement of staking for both of those assets, as well as the reveal of who Frank DeGods is, one of the founders and leaders of the project. A lot of positivity coming from that. We've seen floors going up on KILLABEARS. We've seen the artifact Animus eggs drop. So a lot of fun things going on in the world of NFTs. Before we get going, please like today's stream, subscribe to our channel, head to FLOLiO.com. Those are very important. It means a lot to us. Nothing we say is financial advice. Please do your own research when it comes to any buying and selling decisions. Dan, looks like we're getting a little bit of momentum in the market. How you feeling about things right now?
Pretty good. I think we saw some CPI numbers drop earlier today or yesterday, I believe it was as well, right?
There was a jobs report today that actually came out a little bit hotter than expected. So we've seen a little bit of pullback. We've seen some pullback in the markets there. On the NFT side, I have some data pulled up kind of around monthly activity, and looking at OpenSea, because that's where we have the most data from. I get that there are other sites, but I think OpenSea data is still the best for looking at the broader NFT market. A lot of sites like Blur and X2Y2 are the more advanced traders, as well as a lot of like wash trading and trading for tokens and stuff goes. So I think OpenSea is still some of the most legitimate numbers. We see that last month we had the lowest number of active traders. We had less than 300,000 active traders on OpenSea. First time we've seen the number that low since November of last year. So not a great thing to look at. Number of NFTs sold was actually down considerably. First time under 1 million since also November of last year. And, maybe we'll see a similar kind of trajectory where things pick back up a little bit in December. Then after we get through tax loss harvesting season, maybe it picks back up, but we're in a different macro environment right now than we were last year or earlier in this year. So I don't think we can look at those trends and expect that to happen.
Yeah, I wonder if we're ever going to see such a bull run again, because in the moment it felt great, right? Because we were around when it happened, but I don't think we necessarily realized what we were in, because I guess we only realized what happened when it was gone, maybe.
I mean, you and I were saying in January, February, and March of this year that people should be selling NFTs. Like, don't forget that we were 100% in Q1 of this year saying that the market's really hot. It's not a bad idea to take profit. So we need to give ourselves some kudos there.
That's fair. That's fine.
I could see the market getting back to maybe the volume that we were doing in total, but it would have to be with a lot more people involved. I don't think that we're going to see floor prices get back to where they were, because those were super inflated. I could see us getting back to high volume days, but it would have to be. We're only going to see that if we get a significant increase in new participants. And with that being said, will the new participants, whether that comes next year, the year after, are they going to care about the projects from 2021, or is it going to be new stuff that is happening around those times that pique their interest? So I think that's kind of an interesting view to look at, as well as is some of the stuff now, going to be relevant during the next bull market? And that's where you have to be willing to maybe take some losses on stuff if you can't legitimately look at it and see, I don't see a path to this being relevant.
Yeah, I'd say it depends, right? I think if there's a project from 2021, for example, that have already done a bunch of things, I think that does add some credibility. If you're a project from 2021 and you haven't done anything, and all the new kids on the block, they're like, oh hey, there's this new project minting next week and stuff. I guess they won't really be looking at projects from a year or two ago if they haven't done anything, right? I think they'll just go hop on the new thing. But if you're from 2021 and you've been doing all kinds of stuff, I guess you will still remain relevant, moving forward, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right there. So let's kind of get into some of the news from the week, because there's been quite a bit going on. We had the announcement from DeGods that the DeGods themselves, as well as the y00ts, can now be staked. I think they're kind of getting around some of the securities concerns by, instead of staking for a token, you're now earning points that you can put toward apparel, experiences. They haven't, announced exactly how that's going to work, but that created a lot of excitement. We also saw that Frank DeGods, who is one of the bit larger personalities in the NFT space, big following on Twitter, does a great job of hyping up his project, helping build some cool stuff there. He doxed himself, which was kind of a point of contention. People saw that he's been very successful in previous ventures in the Web2 world, and that has led to a pretty substantial run up on DeGods, on y00ts, and on the YouTubes, which we've been talking about for a while now.
And G Money as well, to add on to
that.
I
was going to get to that after we got through the DeGods stuff. So if we look at the floor of DeGods, they're back up to 357 SOL. They got back down to as low as 250 within the last month. The y00ts, the revealed y00ts, are at a 150 SOL floor. Those are as low as like 50 not too long ago. And the tubes are at about 230 SOL floor. So, the unrevealed asset in most situations going for more than the revealed ones because you're playing that rarity game. People love to gamble, stuff like that. So some solid, if you bought the bottom of those a couple weeks ago, and the bottom for all three of those collections was right when the FTX disaster was happening, when there was so much uncertainty around Solana, around what was going to happen with that blockchain. And there still is, like if you ask our colleague Kevin Shannon, there's still a ton of uncertainty there. But if you bought the bottom of that, then you're doing quite well.
Yeah, to be fair, the price of Solana did like drop 60%, I think, ever since FTX. So I guess if you bought after FTX, when Solana bottomed as well, I think you've got a really good flip. Also, I love Kevin Shannon saying Solana, Sol in chat.
Hey, vamp for just a second here. I'll be right back. I got someone at my door, which is just great timing.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Definitely amazing timing. Yeah, Kevin saying Sol. I think you were beating the drum on Solana quite some time ago as well, I believe. But yeah, I looked at the Solana chart, and I think it peaked at like, I might even say 120 euros at least. I might be wrong. And it's currently like 15. So, I mean, if you bought pre-FTX, and then at the peak of y00ts and DeGods, and then the price of y00ts and DeGods drops, and then the price of Solana also drops, I think a lot of people definitely got screwed. But hopefully people didn't get too wrecked. Personally, I don't really do anything on Solana. I think it's a little bit I don't know, I wouldn't say sketchy, but I'm so used to Ethereum that Solana just feels kind of strange to me. Welcome back.
All right, I'm back. We got a roof inspection and stuff today that I didn't know about. I love when all these things are happening. Okay, so talking about Solana and how sketchy it is and how Kevin Shannon thinks it's going to zero. Am I all caught up there?
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool. So let's move into Artifact here. I kind of briefly touched on the Animus eggs. This is another situation where we don't know when these eggs are going to hatch, right? Mm-hmm. And this is why I get very frustrated with Artifact, because just like with the monoliths, they dragged that out forever. And that was another 10% secondary royalty. And they got all these royalties on it. Same thing with the Animus eggs. Like, this is dropping now, but you're not going to be able to use them, I believe, until like Q1 of next year. So they're going to have months of secondary royalties and just continuing to rake in money, and people aren't going to be able to do anything with them. So I don't own any Artifact stuff. I kind of, everyone points their partner, their work with Nike as a positive, which I think it'll have some positives, but at the same time, like, their obligation first and foremost is Nike's best interest and Artifact's best interest, and then the holder's best interest comes third. So I'm not a fan for the most part. And I'll pull up the pictures right now. Why don't you talk about the coupling with the hoodies and everything? And I'm going to pull up pictures of their shoes, because I think that these look like trash.
Yeah, so they launched the coupling. So I think this is currently only for apparel items. I'm not sure if it's every apparel item, but I know for sure it's the shoes and then the hoodies as well. So I got a hoodie. It's actually, I can move my camera a little bit. It's right there. You can see it hanging there. Don't scan it. So I coupled it to my NFT. What it does, I actually don't know. It's coupled, I guess. So that's neat. Yeah, but in terms of utility, I don't know. I don't know what it offers. So, and the technology was kind of It's NFC or something. I'm not sure what it stands for, but you could basically put your phone on top of like a chip, and then it scans that, and you have to do a bunch of like registration stuff on the Artifact website. I coupled it, and now it's coupled. So I guess there's some like proof of authenticity, perhaps, but I don't know. The technology isn't insane or anything.
Yeah, I couldn't find a good picture of the shoes. I'll try to find one for next time. But suffice it to say, I think they're pretty ugly. I'm still have yet to see a physical sneaker from an NFT partnership that I think people outside of the NFT holders would actually care about. And I think we've talked about fashion and how it could impact, NFTs could impact that a lot. And I think just until we get higher quality products and better designs, we're not really going to be able to integrate any of that into non-NFT holders.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of shoes have been released. Maybe something from the what are they called? Atom Bomb? Atom Bomb? Is that what the name?
I don't think they've had any. Yeah, Atom Bomb Squad. I don't think they've had any sneakers yet. I know that people are pointing to like the Murakami Air Force Ones, and the mock-ups look cool. Who knows if the physicals are going to turn out as well? And then some of those are like the Murakami Drip is another NFT. It's going for like 9 ETH. Like, who the hell? People aren't going to buy that. Like, I don't think it carries as much weight as 10K sneakers from a established designer does. I know Murakami's a famous artist and everything, but I think that's a bit much.
I mean, he did partner with Lewis Hamilton, so I guess that is something.
He does have that going for him, so that's nice. Let's keep it rolling along. Some news out of Yuga Labs today. I think this is kind of cool. They are launching their own YouTube series called The Fucking Metaverse. Season 1 is going to be premiering soon. Actually, the founders of Yuga are the hosts of it. So Gordon, Garga, and Emperor Tomato Ketchup is going to be the third. It seems like he's on some of the shows while Gordon and Garga are the main hosts. They're going to have Timbaland is on one of the episodes. Snoop Dogg is on one of the episodes. Alexis Ohanian, he's on one of them. So they're bringing in a lot of well-known people who are pretty big into NFTs and into mainstream entertainment, and discussing the metaverse with them, where they think it's going, how it's going to be built, all this fun stuff. So I think that's a pretty cool move by them to get their faces out there a little bit more, get more in touch with the people. It seems like from a strategic side, the founders are trying to be a little bit more forward facing, which I think is a good thing if they're getting, the training for that, and they can better communicate what Yuga is trying to do. Because we've talked about that plenty of times of how, communication from Yuga is often lacking.
Yeah, I feel like I wonder, like, hearing all the guests, I wonder if they're going to be talking about Yuga, right? If they're going to be talking about their own collections, and if it's not just them conversing with like some guest about the metaverse, right?
Yeah, I know that they also were interviewing the founder of World of Women today. So I think they're going to have other NFT projects coming on and joining their show. And I wouldn't be surprised if DeGods, the founders of DeGods, came on there, because I know that they are, becoming pretty good friends. So I think that'd be pretty interesting to see how those projects, one being viewed as the top project on Solana and DeGods, other one being, Yuga being the top project on Ethereum right now. So I think that'd be a pretty interesting conversation to see play out.
I agree.
Then we have in the market, I'm going to pull up on FLOLiO the last 7 days of activity and kind of see what's at the top. One that has stuck out to me has been KILLABEARS. And that was, that has seen a pretty nice floor increase. And that's another project I've faded from like a 0.5 ETH floor. I never went ahead and learned anything more about that, and missed out another great opportunity. But if we look at the last 7 days, we see the usual suspects near the top. One thing, just to go back to Clone X for a second, this is another reminder that if there is a claim or a drop associated with an NFT, more often than not, you're better off selling right before the claim, as opposed to holding the asset unless you're attached to a certain one, but if you just have like some floor assets that you don't mind selling, we saw the floor on Clone X here, just recently as high as right around 9 ETH. And now it's fallen to 7.19. And the floor on the eggs is around 1.2. So if you held that, you're still looking at like a 0.6 ETH loss. As opposed to if you sold your clone near the top, you'll probably be able to buy back in for less than what the combined cost of the clone and the egg is.
Yeah, and this always happens. Like always, not even break even. Like almost always it's just a loss, and that's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, so I think that's just something to keep in mind if you're if you're a new person getting into the NFT space, which if you are and you're watching this, thank you for being here. But yeah, I think that's just another reminder. So let's go back for a second here. Look at what else has been going on. If you look at the 1 day, Azuki still holding strong. We're seeing VFriends get a little bit of activity, I think, as we get closer to next year's VCon, which I'm going to try to make it out to Indianapolis for that. Other Deeds has actually recovered quite nicely. Let's pull up their chart real quick because that was down at 0.8 within the last month. So I want to kind of see. It's going to take a second to load because of how many assets there are. Here we go. There's a lot of numbers. So if we look at the last month, we see Other Deeds bottomed out right here a couple weeks ago in the 0.9 area, back to 1.3, which I don't know if it's going to hold there. I could see it continuing to hold and maybe run up a little bit higher if we find out, that the next voyage is coming soon, which it's supposed to be by the end of this quarter. We're in the final quarter of 2022. What that entails, I still think there's a chance that the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, the next piece on the board roadmap, takes place in the other side, and that leads into the Mecha Dogs and Mecha Apes. So could see some continued rise there if there's some added utility and the next sneak peek of it goes well. Yeah,
and they mentioned buying this at 0.9. Like,
it's a great
out of all the assets you could have bought, I think on the other side is or like was, right? So again, no financial advice, but if it was at 0.9 and then looking back, it's probably the safest asset to buy, right? Like, what is safer than an Other Deed?
I mean, it all depends on what happens with the remaining supply, right? Because there's still another 100,000 to come out. So
yeah, so much.
That's a lot. That's a big supply. So I could see it being one of those things where, if we find out when the others are coming out, it's going to be sooner than later. So I don't think it's a terrible idea if you did scoop up another Deed at 0.9 and you can sell it for like 1.3, 1.5. I don't think that's a terrible idea because I see a world where they're back under 1 ETH within the next 6 months.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can buy one for, let's say, 1 ETH, and you can claim another one, then if the floor doesn't drop below 0.5, then it's a profit, right? Essentially.
Yeah. So I think there's still value there. We've still seen the prices of the apes and dogs. They had that big run up last Friday after the announcement of a trial of Jimmy the Monkey happened, and they pumped through the weekend, but now they're pulling back down a little bit. So I think once we get, I don't know if there's a ton of room for them to run too much further than where they were last Friday. I mean, I could definitely be wrong about that, but I think if you're looking to get out of, a position where you're holding a dog, probably in the next few weeks before the trial of Jimmy the Monkey and the Mecha Dogs and Apes, that's probably your best bet to get the most bang for your buck. Especially, I know some people, and I did this myself, where I bought a few dogs last year. They've gone up in ETH value, but they've gone down in USD value. And with, the end of the year coming up, tax season starting up again, it's not the worst idea in the world if you can make a flip to increase your ETH holdings while reducing your your tax obligation. I don't think that's a terrible way to approach it.
Yeah, true. I agree.
So let's kind of talk about what we're looking at, for the last 4 weeks of 2022 before we move into 2023. Are there any projects that you have your eyes on? Any activity you're trying to make to close out the year?
Well, I didn't look. I wasn't gonna say this. Okay, but you forced my hand.
Let me guess. Is it Wolf Game?
Of course it is. Of course the game dropping this month. Okay, this month. So I wasn't gonna bring it up. Well, allegedly. In the trailer they dropped, they said the game dropping in December. So
okay.
I think that's like never say never, right, in the NFT space. But the trailer dropped like a few weeks ago. I think if they say December, like it's gonna be December. Like who announces something 1 month in advance and then delays it, right? Like I think like if you Gutter Cat
Gang, and we'll talk about that here in a second.
Yeah, because they've had some more stuff going on. I saw on Twitter. So like in general, if you announce something a month prior, it's hard to miss a deadline, right? Because normally what you would do is you're gonna create like a roadmap a year ago, and then say stuff like, in a year from now we're gonna do this, and then once you're closer, it's like, oh shit, right? Like we can't do this. But they've had this Q4 game drop set for a long time, and then doubled down a few weeks ago. So I think that's going to be a-okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't. Like you said, they've just recently talked that it's still going to be Q4. So let's talk Gutter Cat Gang for a second, because there has been a ton going on there, and it seems like, and these guys just keep shooting themselves in the foot. And I'm just very, very happy that I sold my Gutter Cat Gang when I did. I didn't sell it at the top. Like I sold it for a loss, which is good for taxes, but I still sold it for like more than 2x what the floor is now. And I sold like all of my gutter stuff. I sold my clones, my cat, my dog, rats, pigeons, like the whole thing. And at this point, everything is, down 50 to 70% from where I sold it. So I'm going to take a W on that one, but they've had just misstep after misstep. There was all this hype built around some big activation in December, where they're going to introduce Gutter Cat Gang to a shit ton of people. It was going to be, some big deal. And then it was just announced, and it wasn't even really announced. It was mentioned in the Discord that not everyone sees, that it was going to be delayed until spring of next year, because whoever they're partnering with is having to delay it. So while it's not their fault that the partner that they're working with is having to push it back, the fact that they even announced it in advance at all without being 100% certain that it was happening was another misstep on their part. Like they constantly shoot themselves in the foot. They're over promising and under delivering. They're not communicating well with their community. Like it's a pretty bad situation. And I don't know what it's going to take for them to turn this thing around. I mean, the floor was at 10 ETH at one point. Now it's down to like 2.71. And I get that a lot of other projects have pulled back as hard, if not harder, but still, like, they haven't shown anything to make me, they've had like the gutter clones drop, and now they have like the second iteration of those drop. And I mean, that's cool. Like some of them look neat, but it's like, what's the point, except for you're just selling your people more and more NFTs?
Yeah, there has to be like a bigger picture, right? One thing I saw on that announcement they made, they were like, we can't do this now because there's 3 other like stakeholders or whatever and it doesn't work for them or something weird. Like it seemed like a pretty awkward announcement. I don't know if the announcement I saw was like the actual announcement. It was like like 3 lines long saying, yeah, it's not gonna happen this month. So
yeah, it's once again another bad look into what's going on over there. So one project I am looking at between now and the end of the year, which is a new one, and we discussed this last week, is Cock Punch by Tim Ferriss. So some details came out yesterday. It's going to be minting next Wednesday, the 7th. Mint is at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it's going to be 0.3 ETH, which is actually down from the initial mint price of 0.5. So okay. I think he listened to the community there. All of the proceeds from the initial sale are still going to charity, which I think is great. The total supply of the project is 5,555, but there's going to be less than 5,000 available in the public mint. I think some are being held behind for the team, for promotions, things like that, which is not uncommon to hold back, 10% of a project. The reveal is going to be Friday the 9th. So I like that they lower the price a bit to listen to community concerns. I like that it's not going to be a long drawn out process before the reveal. It's 2 days, which is not unreasonable in my opinion. I think, these projects that wait weeks become problematic because they know that the floor is going to go down. We've seen it time and time again, with Hape and other stuff like that. So this is one that I don't know if I'll be able to mint, just because I think they had an allow list. And I think it's gonna be pretty tough competition there. But if I'm able to get one on secondary at 0.5, I do think it could be one of those projects that has a really nice run up. And this first weekend post reveal should be a very tradable period of time where there's a lot of activity around them. And we usually see a project every 3 to 4 months that kind of takes over for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this one could be it.
I might have fumbled the bag a bit.
What you do?
So Tim Ferriss is actually an early investor in 9gag. And so the 9gag CEO guy, he posted a pre-mint link for Cock Punch with 100 spots, right? So it's pretty hefty, a lot of spots. Especially because you had to hold 0.3 to register. So I didn't have 0.3, right? So I would have to sell something, and I was gonna sell something to just be able to enter the raffle, but I forgot. And then I checked right now, and it's already closed. So I think I had a pretty decent shot. So unfortunately, fumbled the bag a bit. So I hope it's gonna tank. No, I'm kidding. I hope it's gonna do well. So on their pre-mint, they elaborate a little bit more on the charity, and it's a Sai Say Foundation or something. And
I believe it's his charity that he founded.
Oh, is it?
I believe so.
Interesting. So they say the Sai Say Foundation is a registered nonprofit private foundation that funds cutting-edge scientific research and other initiatives related to psychedelic medicine, mental health therapeutics, life extension technologies, and ecosystem conservation and all that kind of stuff. So it seems like a pretty cool foundation.
Yeah, Tim Ferriss is the founder of that. So, okay. But I still think it's cool that the money hopefully is going to a place where they're trying to do some good in the world. So we like that. Anything else that you've been keeping your eye on, outside of Wolf Game, obviously, that you think is a good buy in the short term?
Not to pump my own bags or anything, but
oh god, here we go.
Now I looked at FLOLiO.com, of course, the statistics page, and I saw that potatoes did go up actually again after sitting around. Yeah, it's not too much. It's at I think at 1.7 right now, and I think that it was hovering around 1.6 for a long time, and that's cool to see. Probably the most stable project I've ever seen in my life, other than what they called again, Hooligans or something. I don't. Do you remember that project, Hooligans or something?
My Pet Hooligans.
My Pet Hooligans, yeah. So it was honestly like a running joke with between me and some friends of mine. They were around 1 ETH for months, straight up, it's 1 ETH for months, and it was quite astonishing to see. Don't know what they are at right now. I would assume they're below 1 ETH now because I haven't seen them a long time.
0.87 is where they're at right now.
It's still good, I haven't seen them in any top volume, and they're still around that. They're also creating a game. I sold mine a long time ago, but seemed pretty interesting when they were still building it. Well, I assume they're still building it, but when I was there, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm looking at their chart on FLOLiO, and it has, for the last 6 months, they've traded between 0.6 and 1.2. And lately, just since October, it's been, a little bit up, a little bit down, but still right in that 0.9 range. So they've been pretty consistent. They're still building that game. I think people, still some pretty diehard holders. I'm blown away that Mechaverse has started to recover the way that it has. And I'm very happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for the holders who have, been holding for a long time. I know there was like a 12 ETH sale the other day on a rare one, so that was pretty crazy. And I think that we could. I don't know how much further it can run, but it could do some more.
They showed like a pretty cool collaboration with some game platform, and they had like these imported mechas in their game, and they looked good. Like they look cool. So that's cool to see.
I like it. We had we talk about Dmitry Cherniak a lot. He just had a drop yesterday for his Light Years. It's called Light Years. It's his a pass for upcoming work of his. There's 98 of them. Floor is at 30 ETH right now, so pretty impressive there. So we got about 2 weeks left until the Rapture is done. I was actually on a Twitter Spaces earlier, and I talked about it, and a lot of people have no idea what that is. Like, and I kind of described the mechanics to them. People were like blown away that someone wrote a smart contract like that. So, that's a pat ourselves on the back. I don't want to sprain my shoulder, but gonna pat myself, pat us on the back again for being on top of stuff that, maybe some other people don't know about. So that's why you come to this show, get the best information out there, damn it.
Yeah. And some occasional Wolf game shilling, but other than that, I was forced my hand this time. Occasional. This time it wasn't my fault.
Oh, you're gonna blame it on me. You're gonna pass the buck to me.
Yes, it is. This was your fault. I mean,
that's very Dutch of you, Daniel.
It is. Yeah, we still have some. This Saturday, our countries have to play soccer or football against each other, so that's gonna decide a lot of things.
Oh man, yeah, it is. It's gonna be. Are you getting together with friends to watch the game?
Yeah, my family and some friends. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be. It's 8 a.m. start time where I'm at, so it's gonna be nice and early for me to watch that one. Which, I mean, I got a kid. I'm up early anyways, but gotta get pretty psyched up early in the day for this USA Denmark game. I was in not Denmark. Jesus Christ, Netherlands. Denmark advanced too, right? I've been like trying to keep up with all of this.
I don't know if they did.
Germany didn't. I know that Germany did not. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, something. Yeah, they almost lost to Costa Rica as well, but then they scored like 3 times.
Oh, looks like Christian Pulisic is going to be back for the U.S. game. Here we go, baby. It's happening.
Great to hear, but
we're going to shock the world. Going to beat the Netherlands, head into the round of 8. Can't wait.
Beat Argentina.
Hey, they lost to Saudi Arabia. Anything can happen, man.
It's possible. It's possible for sure.
So let's not rule it out quite yet. All right. Anything else we want to discuss before we head out?
Or
we're gonna keep talking trash about soccer, which is fine. Like, we can do that.
Nah, I think we can call it there. I mean, we haven't really covered like the G Money doxing.
Oh yeah. Go into that.
Like, the first thing that I thought was like he looks rich, like it looks like he has a lot of money.
Well, he does, so there's that.
Yeah. So it's cool to see, I suppose. Did he say any reason why he doxed, or?
From what I understand, and this makes sense, some of these bigger people like G Money, who has all of these gigantic partnerships, like Frank DeGods, they were getting to a place where they couldn't really be taken as seriously if they weren't doxed. Large corporations are not going to put big money into someone who remains anonymous and just goes by a Twitter handle. So I think they realized that their careers in Web3 had gotten to a certain place, and if they wanted them to go beyond that, they had to drop the anonymity. It was just inevitable.
Yeah, and he has a fund as well, I think, right? Like 9DCC, I think. I don't know if it's a fund or it's something that G Money has.
Yeah, that's like his business. He does a lot of like high-end fashion. Like, I think his thing is high-end fashion, which is, the reason that he looks rich is because he's into that sort of stuff. So it makes sense.
There you go.
But yeah, he's put out some apparel that is on the higher end. He's building that company up. And I think that, once again, for him to be taken seriously with that and for them to get investors and activity outside of who's in Web3 right now, which is a very limited subset, in the grand scheme of things, he was going to need to dox. It was just how it was going to be.
I can see that. Yeah.
I've gone back and forth on the doxing thing. For the most part, I'm in favor of it. However, and I've heard this argument, and I do understand it, is that like I'm fortunate to be a white male living in America, which affords me a lot more opportunities than it would for people who are of different religions, ethnicities, some of these things. And they, I can't speak for those people. Like I can only speak for myself. But I understand that if they feel that they can't get as far if they dox, who am I? IRS loves doxing. Who am I to tell them that, it's not my place. Like people need to do what they think is right for them. And with the understanding that they're probably only going to be able to take their career to a certain place. And if that's what they're happy with, that's great. But, I do get that some people feel the need to remain anonymous because they think that they won't get as many opportunities otherwise.
Yeah. Or like other reasons, right? That's also like, I would assume some people don't like the pressure or the fact that there's like a lot of money involved and people know what they look like, and if you disappoint them, something might happen maybe.
Yeah, I agree with DeGods on that one. If you're getting millions in funding, you probably have to dox at that point. Like you're going to have to, not even necessarily just because of the NFT people, but because of the people who are going to be funding you, you're going to have to dox. Like I don't think that that Mike and Chris over here at FLOLiO could go around trying to raise money if they were anonymous. Which on that note, check out our start engine if you are interested in investing in FLOLiO. That is going quite well at the moment, and I'm very excited about that because we're doing some really cool things. I'm excited for us to be able to talk about here in the next few months that I think are pretty game changing in the NFT space. So excited about that.
Definitely, yeah. The start engine is going well. There is 47,000 raised, so that's nice. Amazing to see.
Yep.
I think that's for like the early birds, right? So they got like a larger, like a better, what do you call it, like stake percent or something? I don't know
guess.
How it works.
Mike and Chris don't talk. They know better than to burden me with those kind of things. I can't understand that stuff.
All I do is I just look at JPEGs all day.
Yeah,
I don't know how all that stuff works.
The higher ups are the smart ones, thank Christ. And Dan and I just talk about monkey and sheep pictures all day. And what Wolf Game is doing. So, thank God for the brain trust who keeps it going. So I think that is where we're going to wrap it up for today. Dan, any final thoughts?
I would say, good luck on Saturday, I suppose. That's all I can say at this point.
Yep. But this time tomorrow, we're going to know who moved on.
True. And hopefully it's, well, I mean, look, I wouldn't even be sad if my country doesn't go through, right? Like, I don't think we deserve it with the football we're playing. So I would much rather see like the US go through just because it's like pretty significant for history, right? If they do. So I do love seeing the underdog succeed.
And if we lose, I'll be happy that your country is advancing. I feel like I'm an honorarily from the Netherlands now due to the last year of us doing the show together and my affinity for Rick Oostenbroek. So there we go. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Oh, God, he's awesome. Please remember to like today's stream, subscribe to our channel, share it out if you don't mind. That would mean a ton to us. And head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT marketplace needs. For Dan, for the team of FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back on Tuesday. See you then.
Bye-bye.
There it is.